The summer of 1942 bore down on Stalingrad with an oppressive heat, but it was the fires of war, not the sun, that truly scorched the ancient city. Situated strategically on the Volga River, Stalingrad was more than just an industrial hub. It was a symbol, a name etched into the very soul of the Soviet Union. Its raw, unyielding landscape of factories, grain elevators, and worker housing now stood as a grim testament to impending conflict. The air itself seemed to vibrate with the hum of distant artillery, a prelude to the symphony of destruction that was about to unfold. Life here was cheap, survival a luxury, and the city, once a beacon of industrial might, was poised to become a crucible of human endurance. In the midst of this gathering storm, a figure emerged from the vast, unforgiving expanses of the Ural Mountains. Vasily Zaitsev, a man whose unassuming demeanor belied a preternatural gift for marksmanship, arrived in Stalingrad. He was no polished soldier, but a simple shepherd, his hands accustomed to the weight of a rifle, his eyes trained to read the subtle shifts of the wind and the hidden movements of prey. His motivation was as clear and stark as the mountains he hailed from: to protect his comrades, to defend his homeland against the relentless German onslaught. He carried with him the quiet determination of a man who understood the value of every life and the profound cost of every loss. Alongside him, though often separated by the chaos of battle, was Tanya Chernova. Young, yet hardened by the brutal realities of the Eastern Front, Tanya was a medic and a scout, her sharp intellect and unwavering courage invaluable in the labyrinthine ruins of the city. Her motivation was a fierce, primal drive for survival, not just for herself, but for the people she served, for the very idea of a future free from tyranny. Her eyes, though often filled with the horrors she witnessed, also held a spark of defiant hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Far across the battle lines, in the meticulously organized ranks of the Wehrmacht, a different kind of legend was being forged. Major Erwin König, a name whispered with reverence and dread, was a German sniper of unparalleled skill. Cold, calculating, and utterly ruthless, König was a living instrument of precision, his every shot a testament to his professional pride and an unshakable belief in German superiority. He was a hunter who viewed his targets not as men, but as mathematical problems to be solved with a single perfectly placed bullet. The initial German advance was a terrifying spectacle of overwhelming might. The Wehrmacht's 6th Army, a juggernaut of tanks and infantry, swept into the city with a ferocity that stunned the Soviet defenders. The initial shock quickly gave way to a maelstrom of chaos as buildings crumbled under artillery fire and the streets became rivers of blood and rubble. The struggle for Stalingrad rapidly devolved into a brutal, intimate dance of death. Hand-to-hand combat raged in stairwells, house-to-house fighting became the norm, and every room, every basement, every pile of debris became a contested battlefield. The brutal reality of urban warfare, with its claustrophobic terror and endless close-quarters engagements, took its toll on both sides. It was in this inferno that Vasily Zaitsev began to emerge. His first kills, almost accidental in their precision, quickly garnered attention. One German officer, then another, fell with impossible accuracy, their heads snapping back as if struck by an unseen force. He became a whisper among the Soviet troops, a ghost in the ruins, a symbol of resistance against a seemingly unstoppable enemy. His rifle, a simple Mosin Nagant, became an extension of his will, dispensing justice with cold, unwavering certainty. Tanya, meanwhile, moved through the carnage with a grim determination, her medical bag a beacon of hope amidst the despair. She tended to the wounded under a hail of bullets, her bravery under fire a constant source of inspiration. She witnessed the horrors firsthand, the shattered bodies, the vacant eyes of the dying, yet she never faltered, her resolve hardening with every life she saved, every comrade she comforted. The war for Stalingrad was not just fought with bullets and bombs. It was also a battle for morale, a struggle waged in the hearts and minds of soldiers and civilians alike. Both sides quickly recognized the power of heroes and villains. Vasily, with his impossible shots and quiet courage, became a legend, a living embodiment of Soviet defiance. His exploits were exaggerated, celebrated, and plastered across propaganda posters, igniting a spark of hope in the darkest hours. The Germans, recognizing the psychological impact of this elusive sniper, began to spread rumors of their own, designed to instill fear and doubt. Whispers began to circulate among the German officers. Hushed conversations about a specialist being dispatched, a counter to the growing legend of the Russian ghost. The tension in Stalingrad, already unbearable, ratcheted up another notch, signaling the arrival of a new, more personal, and far deadlier chapter in the city's tragic saga. The specialist, Major König, arrived in Stalingrad like a phantom. His presence felt long before it was confirmed. His impact was immediate and chilling. Where Vasily had picked off officers, Koenig targeted the Soviet snipers themselves, systematically eliminating them with a surgical precision that bespoke years of dedicated, ruthless practice. Fear, a cold, insidious dread, began to spread through the Soviet ranks. Their most skilled marksmen, the silent guardians of the ruins, were falling one by one, often without a sound, their positions compromised by an unseen, unerring hand. Every fallen comrade was a stark reminder that a new, far deadlier hunter had entered the game. Vasily, a man who had always trusted his instincts, felt the shift in the air. The patterns of German aggression changed, their movements more cautious, their snipers more elusive. He quickly deduced he was no longer the hunter, but the hunted. The cat-and-mouse game, a grim dance he had once orchestrated, was now being led by a master. Koenig's tactics were sophisticated, his patience boundless, turning the shattered city into a chessboard where every move was fraught with peril. The psychological warfare intensified. A silent battle of wills played out amidst the rubble, each man trying to anticipate the other's next breath, their next move. Amidst this escalating tension, Tanya found herself drawn ever closer to Vasily. She witnessed his calm resolve, the unwavering focus in his eyes even as the shadow of Koenig loomed larger. In him she saw not just a soldier but a beacon of steadfastness, a quiet strength that resonated deeply within her own determined spirit. A bond, forged in the crucible of shared danger and mutual respect, began to blossom, a fragile glimmer of human connection amidst the pervasive horror that surrounded them. This connection, however, would soon be tested by a bitter betrayal. A comrade, broken by the incessant shelling and the relentless psychological pressure, succumbed to despair, revealing Vasily's carefully concealed position to the Germans. It was a wound far deeper than any bullet, a stark reminder of the corrosive power of fear in the crucible of war. Vasily, alerted by a subtle shift in the wind, a faint glint of light, or perhaps an instinct honed by countless close calls, barely escaped Koenig's crosshairs. A bullet splintered the brickwork where his head had been moments before, the sound echoing through the ruins like a death knell. The realization of the internal threat, the chilling knowledge that someone within their own ranks had turned, weighed heavily on him. The emotional toll was immense. He grappled with the erosion of trust, the crushing weight of responsibility for his men, and the relentless pressure of the duel that now transcended mere survival, becoming a personal vendetta. Koenig, for his part, became utterly consumed by the pursuit. Vasily was no longer just an enemy, but an obsession, a worthy adversary, whose elimination would solidify his own legendary status. Their personal battle, a grim dance of death, began to overshadow the larger conflict, a duel fought not for territory, but for pride and survival in the desolate landscape of Stalingrad. Despite the intensity of this personal vendetta, the wheels of a much larger plan were already in motion. Far from the snipers' alleyways, Operation Uranus, the audacious Soviet counter-offensive, was being meticulously prepared. Small strategic victories, often unnoticed amidst the city's greater agony, began to emerge. Subtle shifts in the tide that hinted at the coming storm. Tanya, ever brave, faced her own moment of peril. Risking her life to provide cover for Vasily during a particularly fierce exchange, she sustained a wound, a testament to her unwavering dedication and the profound depth of her loyalty. The final confrontation between Vasily and Koenig was inevitable, a grim appointment set amidst the skeletal remains of a factory district, the air thick with the dust of shattered lives. It was a desperate, isolated duel, the ultimate test of nerve, skill, and sheer will. Vasily, knowing he could not overpower Koenig through brute force, resorted to cunning. He used psychological warfare, feigning retreat, creating false trails, and exploiting Koenig's growing arrogance and impatience. He understood that Koenig, accustomed to easy victories, would be frustrated by a disappearing target, his precision giving way to a dangerous impulsiveness. After a grueling day of cat and mouse, Vasily laid his trap. He used a helmet on a stick, a classic ruse to draw Koenig's fire. The German sniper, his patience frayed, took the bait. The precise moment Koenig's head emerged, Vasily's rifle, a simple Mosin Nagant, barked once. The shot was clean, true. Koenig crumpled, his legendary career ending not with a bang, but with a silent, final fall amongst the rubble. Vasily felt an immediate, profound release, a weight lifted from his shoulders, but it was not triumph. There was only the lingering emptiness, the heavy cost of victory. Koenig's death, though a personal victory, resonated far beyond the shattered walls of Stalingrad. It was a propaganda coup, a powerful symbol that the seemingly invincible Germans could be defeated. It fueled Soviet morale, igniting a renewed belief in their cause. Days later, Operation Uranus was unleashed in full force, a massive pincer movement that encircled and trapped the entire German Sixth Army. The true turning point of the war had arrived. Tanya, her wound still healing, found Vasily amidst the celebrations, their shared survival reinforcing the unspoken bond between them. A moment of poignant human connection in a landscape of devastation. The physical and emotional scars of Stalingrad would forever mark them, a testament to the unimaginable price of victory. Yet the city was saved. The tide of the war irrevocably turned. The ultimate sacrifice of Stalingrad's defenders was not in vain, but a brutal, bloody redemption that reshaped the course of history.